right, welcome back to another episode of Indie B&B. Today I'm joined by Bret from the band Lip Critic. Bret, how are we doing on this Brooklyn Monday?
We're doing good. We just had a very long rehearsal and we're chilling out now though. We're gonna be sharp as a knife for sure
I
this
love it.
tour.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you guys are in the midst of a pretty big tour going on right now, touring for the record theft world, correct?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I always like to tell people, how we kind of got in touch. Our buddy Joey on the air, he had put songs that they can't play on the radio, hit about you guys, and really wanted to, as soon as I heard that, I had to reach out to kind of get the skinny here on what you guys are doing and how it's going. Like, Brett, I guess my question is like, he mentioned y'all's setup, like, as a band, kind of a unique setup. If you could tell everybody like what that is, and kind of, how it came about, with, I think you guys have two drummers and you have, it seems like there's a lot of sampling going on. So take me through that, setup.
Yeah, I mean it's always been two drummers, two samplers setup, and then I'm also doing vocals. So it came about just because I wanted the band to be symmetrical. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
It was Connor and I who both do the electronics work are like club people. Like we played
Mm-hmm.
in bands and stuff like growing up, but we really met through like producing dance music and like DJing. And
Mm-hmm.
then we were talking about this idea for this band that would be like basically like a joke band where it would be two of identical bands playing the same songs side by side. So it's like they got like the two bands were double booked, so they played the same set or something. And then we like kept trying to get this idea together when we were in college and we just could never amass the people. And then the kind of like last few people we were left with was like we had two drummers and we had like Connor and me and we were like, hey, let's just do like, some kind of electronics setup, and it ended up being like far and away the most fun we had ever had making music. We're both like really rhythmically kind of like obsessed, like we really love like the color guard music, like drum lines. I really love like Brazilian, like the sort of huge samba school stuff, and it was always kind of a dream to have like a drummer and a percussionist, or the ability to just have more going on than a singular kit. So that's kind of like the basis for the entire thing. Is like drums move music, and then we have two of them. So we're trying to make it like uber kind of thick maximalist dance music.
I love it. I love it. That kind of is, perfect segue. Joey wanted me to give you, ask you a few questions, and one of his questions was, I'll quote him here. I've never seen them live, so I can't say for sure, but how do they make the most of having two drummers? Are they filling in different percussion parts or sounds, or is it just to amplify and have a bigger drum feel? So,
Yeah, it is different parts. There's almost no parts where they're fully like playing the same thing. There's a lot of stuff where it's like, if the two drummers are Danny and Mikey. So Danny
mm-hmm,
is like the kind of principal drummer on a lot of them where he's playing, like the kick, snare, hi-hat, like groove of the song. And then Mikey is like a technical death metal drummer who is
mm-hmm.
playing kind of like really intense auxiliary percussion, but is also like sometimes trading roles then with Danny. So it's very fluid and it's just based upon like what they feel track to track. Like, if it feels like this, like Mikey wants to take lead, then he takes lead. But there's always kind of this like power balance of, yes, like one has to be the concrete kind of like driving force and the other one embellishes and like increases the bounce of everything. But yeah, we don't do like the full on, like OCs, like
Mm-hmm.
two drummer power thing that much. That is fire though.
Got it. So that's interesting that you guys, it's like they're playing different things, and it's almost like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, it's like a lead guitar and then a lead, like
Exactly.
like like a rhythmic guitar, but instead it's just drums. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Danny always talks about like listening to television, like the two guitars on Marquee Moon being this kind of like balance of like there's always like a lead and then there's the rhythm, but then like the rhythm will migrate into being the lead and the lead will come down to the rhythm. There's this cool kind of like ESP going on with the guitars there, which is kind of what we're trying to hit with the two drums.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, again, you got to go out and check out the drum setup, on your tour live. I know, we discussed it right before we got on here, but you guys are coming down to Atlanta to play Alter at the Masquerade, which is going to be a great room. It's their newest room there, and super excited on June 20th. So everybody mark your calendar if you're local to this podcast. If you're not local, then check them out. Check out their website. You'll be able to find the dates on there. Speaking of your website, got an interesting kind of like, vibe there. Like it's very reminiscent of the Pirate Bay and the torrent sites of the two,
What
the
makes you
mid
say that?
aughts.
Um, yeah, yeah. No, we cloned it. We cloned Pirate Bay.
Yeah.
With like a friend of ours that's like a web developer person. We wanted to have, so there it's an actual torrenting website, so you can torrent big chunks of our catalog. You can torrent like drum stems from tracks. You can torrent like videos of live shows, like sample packs we've put together. There's a bunch of stuff on there. A ton of photos too, but and you have to use like a real like torrent client, to open them up. Uh, but they're there. It's a big part of like the kind of ethos of the record is about this idea of like stealing being a yin yang. Like it can be positive and it can be negative. Like artists who steal from each other, like the famous ones being like, the Andy Warhol, him stealing all this packaging from like Brillo and Campbell's and everything, turning it into fine art is like it's kind of an artistic ethos of like taking and reinterpreting, but at the same time, like theft being this thing that is actually like a very large scale like evil force in the world. You know, would be it with like literal kind of like economic inequality, or be it like ecological kind of like collapse, like having your future stolen out from under you by massive companies and stuff. Theft is like this prevalent force, and a big way that we came to the sort of theft world concept was how Connor and I both really got into making music via like torrenting Ableton for the first time, and figuring out like how to make like dubstep in like the OG kind of like Skrillex era, where we were just
Mm-hmm.
like so fixated with like how the hell is he doing all this, and then like same thing when Raider Clan started to pop off and a bunch of these like big rap collectives on like SoundCloud and all over the internet. The production was just amazing. Like Young Chop is like he's my Andy Warhol. Like that guy is just unbelievable. So I was obsessed with figuring out how to make it all, and it was the first thing that I went to was like, oh well, I'm going to download all of the Young Chop drum packs I can find on like Reddit and and Pirate Bay and uTorrent and all this stuff. So it was like it was a big kind of musical awakening for us, and it all came from stealing thousands of dollars of software probably.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, again, that the record came out earlier this year, and as you guys have gotten the reception, you've toured a few places. Like, what's been kind of the feedback? Like, what are the things that move people whenever they're on the tour and in person with you guys? What have you noticed? Like, any tracks in particular stick out to you that are like, oh, when we play this one, everyone goes ape shit, or like, what's going on there?
Well, we haven't. This is the thing. We haven't even toured this record yet.
Mm-hmm.
The record came out, on May 1st, and
Okay.
so the tour's kicking off on the 25th. But we've been playing a bunch of songs from the record for like a year plus because we finished it a while ago. But the song like Talon, I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
is actually kind of one of the slower songs we've ever done. But it really, it's kind of like my favorite sort of thing we accomplished with it, where live it is like a totally kind of like alien version of the song from the record. Like in the middle of the song we do like Family Feud section. So in the middle of the song is silent on the record basically, but then on live we have a we pose a question, and then we have people answer, and we tell them if it's one of the top five, and so it's kind of like we're trying to have this fusion of like comedy and music and like performance where it all feels like you're coming to see a show that is only here. Like you can't go if you want to listen to the record, like that's it's a whole separate thing. But
Hmm.
if coming to see the show, you're going to get an experience that you can only get at the show. We want it to feel very like special and kind of one of one.
I love that. I love that. And now you're making me even more mad that I'm going to be out of town when you're here. So
We'll be back though. I guarantee it. We'll be back.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous of all the folk that are going to be able to get the Family Feud. I would have gotten the question right, I think. So or I
Yeah,
would have at least gotten the
yeah.
top five answers. I mean, what are we talking about here? I love it.
Honestly, it's still a captivating show. I can't even lie.
I love it. I love it. Well, cool. Well, one of the songs off of Theft World, "Legs in a Snare," like I want to kind of dive into that one deeper as kind of our song spotlight today, and just want to understand again. Just give us a glimpse in the creative process. I mean, I know that you mentioned being club folk and wanted to get being more in the producing and in that type of area, like. How does something like this all weave together, with lyrics, like, and, what does that look like from y'all's perspective as a band?
Well, we were at Connor's studio and we were just running 808s through an old tube amp, like over and over again, just frying the sort of pre's on this tube amp to get this really nice like distortion out of the 808s. It's kind of like, our version of like a power chord, like a low power chord on a guitar.
Hmm.
And so then the big 808 that's on the track is one of these reamped ones. And yeah, we were just like really trying to strip back elements. Like we're very maximally sort of tilted. Like we'll always add more, which is, a very common thing for a producer to be like, yes, it just needs like one more synth melody. So we were like, let's strip everything out. The track was like full of stuff that we just like, we're muting, seeing what the essential elements are. And we ended with basically only using the 808. So there's this high kind of like honky like top thing, which is also the 808 being pitched up really, really high. Um, and then the main sort of like, I don't know if you could even call it like baseline melody thing that happens in the like sing-songier parts is that bang bang daddy ding ding is also the same 808 that is now being pitched up more, distorted differently, and layered to make this little sort of stab thing. So it was kind of like it was like an 808 a thesis statement. Like, how do we make the entire song out of the 808? Um, and then like lyrically, the song is really about being like just at the whim of your obsessions and like your fixations. I'm an extremely obsessive person. Me and Connor both are like we have a very immersive kind of personality. Like we don't really do things calmly ever. So, but then there's certain moments where you're like really obsessed with something for a period of time, and then it like loses its like on a dime, it just loses its magic. Like I had this with like stickering and tagging and graffiti for like a lot of years, where I was really obsessed with just being like the best, most like prolific sticker guy like ever. And then like one day I just woke up and I like couldn't make myself care about it anymore. And you're sitting there with like years of experience put into this thing, and you're just kind of like, well, like, what was it all for? And it's kind of dressing it up like it's a love song, or like it's some kind of a breakup song, but it's really
Hmm.
like you being broken up with by this thing that you've been infatuated with, and you don't know it doesn't why you can't care about it anymore. But yeah, it kind of personifies the fixation as a person. Uh,
Interesting.
but yeah, I've had a lot of people be like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Like, did you go through a horrible breakup?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I went through a lot of breakups with inanimate ideas, with like Magic the Gathering.
Activities. You broke up with a
Yeah,
lot of activities.
I've been breaking up with
Dang.
activities.
Wow. I mean, well, it sounds like you broke up with all of the other elements to the song and like in your maximal kind of feel. Like what
That as
I guess what
well,
made you
yeah.
guys what guys made you guys want to do that? Because I feel like, again, I've played around. I'm not by any stretch a producer. I've made one thing, and I have a MIDI keyboard, so that's like the
That's
only
all you
my
need. That makes you a
credentials.
producer.
It does not, because I can tell you, we'll play it off air. It's terrible. But like, there is so much, and like, if you have the brain and you understand all that stuff, like, how on earth are you making decisions in building it, and then now you make a decision, you're like, man, we put all that work into that thing, but like, God, I feel like we should just like do only 808s and like be done. Like, there's got to be more, on that
Yeah.
decision
I mean,
process.
killing your darlings is what it was described to me as, where it's like you'll make something really perfect and then for the serving the larger song, like the song is God, that whole idea of like if it doesn't serve the song, it can be the most beautiful little like vignette ever, but if
Hmm.
it doesn't serve it, you just have to kill it and it sucks. It's the worst thing ever. Um, but a lot of it is just like visualizing the song, kind of like, oh, like let me think about, like this playing in front of like 10,000 people, and then let me visualize this playing in somebody's headphones, and then let me think about it, playing out of somebody's phone or out of an iPad, or like it's
Hmm.
playing on someone's showing it to someone else on like a busy roadway. I really like thinking about all that stuff because I am trying to make like the best thing that I possibly can. It sounds like a goof to be like every song we make I'm trying to make like the best song I've ever made, but we really are like going I coin our type of thing as trying core. That's our core. Because we're trying extremely hard. Like whatever the opposite of slacker rock is, that's like what we're doing here. We're like trying rock. So it really came down to that. It's just like, like this thing is cool, but like it feels like it pushes a little too far into cacophony and it like cuts into you really feeling the melody and the bass line. Like, let's pull back and then let's have, the big cacophonous moment be only when it absolutely needs to be and when it like peaks out right at the end. But it's still tough. I still leave plenty of stuff in and I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, that's stupid, but I like it.
Yeah. I heard, again, a producer, Fred, again, he can edit apparently you can edit songs even when they've already been released, on Spotify. You just have to upload, new things. How
You know, like
tempting is that to do, when you've got something out and, it's doing well, but you're like, dude, that one little part is still bothering me that it's in there. Like, are
it
you ever
does sound
tempted to
like
get
I
in there?
don't even want to. I don't even want to think about this because this is like I remember when Life of Pablo came out, and the record came out and it just had like missing like verses and like takes that were still like mumble like sort of phrasing takes, and then Kanye was like, "I'll fix it later." I was like, "It's out, bro. Like it's done." Like
Yeah,
that's we've kind of always had that. We agonize over this stuff pretty heavy. So when it's out, I usually feel like I'm moved on from it by then. Like we're already
hmm
really deep on the next project because we just had this idea for kind of like a 3 record run, starting on Hex Dealer and then ending with the next one. So we've been very like on to the next for a minute now.
when you get in and like are in that mode, like, how hard is it? Like, are you trying to keep the same theme with the same 3 records, or are you trying to do some different things in each of them? Like, are you experimenting with like different kinds of sounds in the next one, or like what can people be expecting as things move forward?
Yeah, they're all different, and we actually like already scrapped what was going to be this middle one in favor of Theft World. Um,
Hmm.
but it was sick. I mean, it is sick. We just kind of can't put it out for legal reasons because of sample clearance stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, it's all like Twitch streamer audio, and some of it is like really obviously certain streamers. And then when we reached out about them being on it and like using it, they were not about it. They did not want that to happen. So that record is kind of like entombed until further notice. But the next one is like right now it's just like it's really swaggy. Like I don't know how to describe it as other than that. It's almost like dangerously swaggy. Like I'm almost worried about it. The swag levels are so high. We're about to like, I'm about to capsize the ship. Um, but it's really cool. We've been watching. I know it's one of our favorite movies is Hellraiser 2. And so we've been doing a lot of rewatches of that. Been watching a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen. Season 3 just finished its first chunk, and it was super informative as well. But we're big like movies and TV people. It feels like each album gets shepherded in by like us all watching some movie and going, "Oh my God, like this is the coolest thing ever," and then taking some idea from it. So yeah, I'll say this one so far has been informed by JJK and Hellraiser 2.
All right. Well, we'll have to. I can't. Hopefully, the swag levels stay dangerously high, so we can, when we hear it,
Yeah. And
in the
that Julia
initial
Child
onset.
movie, something with Julia, where she tries to cook every dish Julia Child's made.
I
Can't
have
remember. I
not
think
seen
it's
that.
like about 2010. It's called like Julie and Julia or something. I gotta look that one up again.
Yeah. How do you get inspired through a movie? Like you mentioned Hellraiser. Is it just like the soundtrack, or is it just like the fucking vibe of the movie? Like, what's the
Most of the time, it's just like imagining, like translating chunks of this thing into music. Where it's much more
Mhm.
abstract. Like in a film, I feel like it's really easy to get caught in the idea of like a linear narrative because so many movies move from front to back, um and in an album it's people are just so less on the ball about like oh, this is the first song of the album and I'm not necessarily starting a narrative that I have to keep track of characters, so like
Mhm.
it really allows you to be super fluid and you can jump around a lot, you can be really weird and like surreal and um, it's also just like, imagine Pinhead in a Walmart or something. Like I could do a whole album about Pinhead going to Walmart.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, as we kind of close the book on Theft World, and I do want to ask another Joey on the air look in question, and he does ask about your vocals here. So, dear quote here from him: "Is Brett's local vocal delivery at all inspired by the B-52s? It sounds so
Massively.
clear to me. It sounds so clear to me. Or it might just be a coincidence." So,
Yeah, speaking of Athens, Georgia, that's
yeah.
B-52's hometown. Yeah, I love B-52s. I grew up listening to it just because my mom played a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he and I also saw them live. I worked at a venue in high school and I saw them live and it was just like such a party. Like I love the idea of like a party band. It doesn't really exist right now that much, but like certain bands like Sextile and stuff are great examples where like it's a band but they're there to like put on a party.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to really like B-52s when they played, I mean the lead singer had to have been like well over 60 years old and he was like jumping down off the stage and like running around. They had like a guy in a lobster costume and stuff like for the rock lobster part. Like I just love the like vibrance of it all. I feel like so much
Mm-hmm.
stuff now is like so serious and it's all good to be serious, but it's like I just deal with almost everything in my in life. I feel like with levity, like like the people that I'm closest with and like the art that I relate to the most are all like relationships based out of humor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I just feel like when it came time to like really start to dig into like writing albums and stuff, it always came down to like, oh, you want there to be like funny parts. You want it to have this like air of like it's kind of fun. But B-52 straddles that so good and where it's not like fully comedy, but it's also not like fully serious music. And a big part of that is his delivery. That guy sounds
Mm-hmm.
insane and he sounds really funny. And so I mean, anytime I see somebody comparing it, like, oh man, this guy sounds like the dude from B-52s or like this guy sounds like Danny Brown or something. I'm like, 100%, those are like my two favorite artists of all time. Like, absolutely. And they're both people that are insanely funny, but also make
Yeah.
like really hard hitting party music.
I love it. I love it. Well, so Joey was pretty spot on that one. I love
Yeah,
it.
no,
Like
it's
he got
definitely,
it.
I wear it on my sleeve for sure.
All right, awesome, man. Well, as you guys are getting in and I want to kind of go back to the beginning of Lip Critic. Like, why is the band called Lip Critic? I was just curious. I keep saying it, and it's fun to say, and I just want to know
Yeah.
where it came from.
It was like we were just serializing like the name where we were flipping through books and pointing at words, and it was I think it's Pynchon's Gravity's Rainbow. Connor was reading it, and so we flipped through the book, we pointed, we got lip, we flipped through the book, and we got critic, and then it was done.
Wow, just like that,
You don't have
that
to think of
easy.
the band name if if it just is it's already in a book somewhere. You have to pick the numbers, and then it's there.
I love it. I love it. Well, obviously, everybody go, listen to Theft World and catch them on tour. Check out their website on the torrent side. And as we close out here with Pete Peterson's party pack of questions, rapid fire questions, this or that, mainly food based, we'll rip into this thing. And Bret, are you ready to jump into the party pack?
I'm locked in. Let's get it.
He's locked. All right, let's go. Cake or pie?
Cake.
He's caking it up. All right, salad or soup?
Salad.
All right, I like it. All right, sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
Sunset, of course.
Okay. All right. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Home run 100%.
All right. Okay. Night in or night out? What are you having more of?
Night out. Let's dance.
I love it. All right. When you do go dancing, are you more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor?
I'll probably hit the worm by accident.
Okay. All right. An accidental worm, not one you see often.
Yeah, it's the only one you see by accident.
All right. Guac or queso, your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
I'm gonna go case.
Casing it up. All right.
In a Mexican restaurant, only time I'll catch a case.
Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
I love it. All right. Coffee or tea with your pancakes?
Coffee.
All right. Dogs or cats?
Cats. Grew up with a whole pack.
All right. Pack of cats. All right. Are you more like a ninja or a pirate?
Probably a pirate, but I relate most to the lunch ladies.
Lunch ladies. I like it. All right. Speaking of lunch ladies, chips or pretzels in your lunch?
Let's do pretzels.
I like it. All right. Fries or tots?
I'm gonna go with fries.
All right. All right. TV show or movie after a long day?
Movie.
All right. Are aliens real?
Absolutely, they're on video.
They're on video. Okay. All right. If you were a fruit, what kind of fruit would you be?
Let's go dragon fruit.
All right.
But it's
Dragon
giving me
fruit.
a lot of credit.
Gotta be careful with dragon fruit. Don't eat it alone, or be by a bathroom. Is Love at First Sight real?
Yes.
Awesome. And give me two bands that we might not know that we ought to check out.
Shiverboard are one of the best metal bands around right now. They're dropping a new record this year. And then I'll go with oh my god, there's so many good ones. This one I really like this called Gasket.
Gasket. I love it. I love it. You've conquered the Pete Peterson party pack of questions. Shiverboard,
Those were
Gasket.
hard.
Shout out to them. Hey, you
Bit of a
came in.
Sophie's choice, each one of those.
Yeah, we like to make it a little bit. You want to challenge
It
people.
was
to get
hard
it, but-
hitting, yeah. I was like, damn, I'm really gonna forsake pie right now.
The key lime pie lobby is going to come after you. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
powerful. Be careful. Be careful.
I have no intent. I have to put one of those things. I'm in good health. I'm in good mental.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, Bret, we appreciate you taking the time to connect with us here, and everyone go see Lip Critic on their tour as they are going to be traveling around. June 20th, Altar in Atlanta, Masquerade. You can get food outside at this one. This is the place where at Masquerade you can eat and then walk in the show. Great room. Check out Legs In A Snare. Check out Theft World on the places you find music. Hell, go steal it from them on torrent. Go take it.
Hey,
Go take what's yours. As a crew.
I mean, if you've clocked the average height of the band, you know we can't do much to stop you. You know, we're clocking
Awesome.
in at like 5'3" max.
5'3" max. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you
All
got some
right.
little guys.
All right. The wee lads. We like it. All right. Well, Bret, appreciate you hopping in here, and look forward to seeing more from Lip Critic as we see the
Yeah,
future
thanks
coming.
so much for having us, or for having me on. It means a lot.
Of course, awesome, man.